We are back on the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show. We are talking about a program called Tally. I'm hopeful by now you've heard of it. Evan Frazier is the president and CEO, and Olivia Benson is a member of the most recent class of cohorts. Olivia, this is going to be for you. How is Olivia Benson, who just graduated in the last class of cohorts, different from the Olivia Benson that started this program?
I'd say this version of myself has a number of tools in my arsenal that I didn't necessarily have before, and that's because of the classes and the lectures that were brought in through Tally. I'd say that there were, experiences, and I don't want to give away too much, but there were kind of national speakers that came in and really helped us kind of reframe how we were thinking, not just about things like salary negotiation or position negotiation, but also how we're working internally within companies to be intrapreneurs and drive that long-term culture change that makes places more habitable for people of color. So this Olivia is version 2.0 of myself, where now I just have different tools where I'm able to still focus on my longer term career goals and missions, but just different assets at this time.
And Evan, given Olivia's answer, not that I think that people who have gone through the program were not as confident as they could have been or should have been, but it sounds like when you come out of the program, you are all that, as they say, and a bag of chips.
That's certainly our plan, and we're seeing that people are finding a lot of great growth within the experience. And again, it's through the program, the Executive Leadership Academy, is to help not only give people the some of the ability to have some courses in self-reflection and some of the curriculum, but also to build important relationships. New relationships that can be helpful, both peer relationships. We try to get people to embrace their executive mentors, to create sponsor relationships, for them, because as you know, to break through the glass ceiling, it really takes sponsorship. You have to be sponsored into those higher levels. And so we recognize that as we designed the program, so that we know that it's not just about what you know and how you can perform. It is those things, but it's also the relationships that you build and the way that you're approaching, how to elevate within organizations. And so those are the subtle things that, they're not often teaching you. And very often, we also bring in kind of the cultural lens that very often, for companies and for academic institutions, they don't always, and very rarely, I would say, give you the tools and the space and this in a safe place to really explore and understand how does race play itself out in organizations, and what are the best practices for being able to overcome bias, and how do you deal with certain circumstances that very often make it an uneven and unlevel playing field for Black professionals.
And Olivia, given everything that Evan has just described, up until this moment in your career, had you felt that sense of frustration, that sense of a glass ceiling, that sense of how am I going to get to where I want to be?
100%. I'd even go a step further and say sometimes it didn't even feel like a glass ceiling. It felt like it was just the cement on top of me, where you really couldn't see the top or a pathway there. And I think through this program, in addition to what I mentioned before, I've also been able to connect with a fantastic mentor who's, even over this short period of time, guided me and almost become somewhat of a sponsor for the next step of what I'm thinking about, or even just being able to bounce those ideas and some of the opportunities I'm seeing to move forward in my organization, to get that feedback from someone who's not only been there, but has developed, as a pathway to get there too, has been incredible. And that's something, again, Olivia of earlier, pre this program, didn't have, but now has. And again, there's pathways now to smash not just that cement ceiling, but that glass ceiling, as Evan mentioned.
So Evan, I'm sure that attracting people to the program isn't hard. What about retention? Is that a challenge? I mean, because again, you're talking about people who are already carrying a full load, a full plate, just in the corporate world. And then if you add in whatever their personal life is, I'm sure there are folks who are like, nah, this is more than I thought.
Yeah, well, certainly, we never take anything for granted. While there's definitely a lot of interest from an attraction standpoint, we know that we have to keep the word out and continue to be, assertive and aggressive in recruiting and getting our sponsoring companies to recruit from their organizations as well. But we've been very fortunate in finding great talent. So far, 3 years going strong. It's been very positive. We're recruiting for our fourth cohort now, which will start in January for the Executive Leadership Academy. And next month, we'll be launching our Emerging Leaders Program. And so that's another important program for those who are Black professionals who might be an individual contributor or early manager roles, and really looking to advance their careers as well. So we've added another track, which we'll be starting again in the fall, towards the end of October. And then our fourth cohort of the executive program will begin in January. So we're trying to build on all fronts. And I would have to say that over the cohort, about the retention piece, our first year we had 23 cohort members. We started with 24. We lost one the very first day because of the circumstances of that individual, just the first day, but we've retained the rest of them for the rest of the cohort. We had 28 in 2020, and in 2021, 28 each year, and we graduated 28 each year. So so far the retention is going well. I think once people feel connected to the cohort experience and what we're providing through Tally and what CMU is providing through the Tepper School, I think people feel a real sense of how important it is to not only just be a part of it, but to really finish strong. And as people finish, we've also launched kind of an alumni programming that will be ongoing. We're going to support and connect people who are alumni, hopefully for the rest of the days.
Forever. Okay, we got to take a commercial break. So, we'll just do that. We'll take the break. I got more questions. I'll ask you when we come back. The Lynne Hayes Freeland Show will be right back.